2023 has been an experience to say the least, with a handful of good games.
Nice.
And a handful of bad ones.
She looked like she had never seen anything quite so horrible in all her life.
Some of the best releases of this year so far being remakes.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
He said it. He said the thing. And with that, begs the question. Why don't they remake some age-old classics that have stood the test of time? I'm certain that with all the resources and technology available today, these 5 old games would become hits. Again. That's why I made a comprehensive list of 5 games that should be remade. Number 5. Legend of Dragoon. You start out as Dart, a young man traveling to his hometown in the woods. When he arrives, he finds his home destroyed and his childhood friend, Shayna, kidnapped. Now it's up to you to save your girlfriend and find the Black Monster. The story is basic, but what's memorable and the coolest thing about the game was the combat. I don't think I've played an RPG back in the day where you were playing Osu and you got to kick some ass.
Double slash!
You had some cheesy moves that were extra.
Yes! Go! Volcano!
Spinning cane!
You could turn into a dragon and... You got new moves to master with every character, and every character felt different with their own skills.
Whoa! Divine Dragon!
God damn! The problem was that too many critics compared it to Final Fantasy, and it just wasn't that. It was better. I miss the old times when games would just experiment, but nowadays companies just play it too safe. Would it surprise you that this is the same company behind Ico and Ape Escape? Shadow Heart's Covenant. You play as Yuri, a twig that can transform into creatures that you defeat, called fusions. You get more abilities with each fusion and can make more fusions by charging gravestones with soul energy. You're accompanied on a journey with a colorful cast of allies, including a vampire obsessed with wrestling, a fortune teller with a magical doll, and communists. The stakes are high as a terrorist organization, Sapientes Gladio, liberals for short, are trying to be bad boys. The good guys go to various locations across Europe, Russia, and Japan. At one point you even go to the Vatican City to retrieve a holy mistletoe for kissies. You'll encounter challenges that demand teamwork and precise timing to execute powerful combos. A key element of gameplay and what makes Shadow Heart so interesting is the Judgment Ring, a disc with colored areas that players must hit as a pointer passes over them. You know, like generators? With each successful hit in a combo, the damage gets higher, creating a 5th special magical attack when using 4 characters. This makes it so that coordination is key, and by just being good at the game, you're rewarded. You unlock powerful attacks and boost skills when you get good at the system. But the Judgment Ring isn't limited to combat alone. You can also use it in shops to save money. All of this makes an unforgettable journey that remains fun and doesn't focus too much on the details.
Time to shuffle up and deal! a killer hand! I've got a killer hand! You're gonna get it! You're gonna get it! Quit imitating me!
Ah, this is dumb.
Yep. Have you ever wanted to kick ass so hard? In God Hand, you play as the main protagonist, Jean, a 23-year-old who has one of the God Hands sought after by a group of demons. The main villains are the four Divas, a demonic society attempting to resurrect Angra for world domination. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, as you can tell, and focuses heavily on the combat, giving it a lot of substance. Are you following a trend here? The combat is very intricate, focused on actively picking good moves to equip Jean with, and it rewards combos and even throws in curveballs when you're doing too well. You can unleash divine power with the God Reel, a roulette wheel packed with powerful moves. My favorite is the Ball Buster, and a unique detail is it doesn't work on females.
He wants to show off his two little planets, Beijing and Shanghai. Beijing and Shanghai.
You collect skull cards scattered throughout each stage to increase your roulette orbs. The awesome thing about the game is you feel powerful, like a god. As you battle enemies, you build up your tension gauge, evading attacks, taunting your opponents, and using tension-boosting moves to charge it up. When the gauge reaches its peak, you can activate it to really dish out some damage. All of your attacks get faster, and you move a lot faster. Also, it speeds up your combos. There's a difficulty level bar that adapts to your combat prowess. If you take hits, the meter will knock it down, but if you actually kick a little too much butt, the enemies become a lot more coordinated. They start surrounding and flanking you, they do more damage, and there's a chance powerful demons can spawn from defeated enemies. There's also a shop to purchase or sell moves, and for fun, they added a casino. I honestly don't know what's with Japan and casinos, but they always add it to RPGs.
Thank you.
Hello, I like money.
You can play slots, blackjack, and poker, there's chihuahua racing, and there's a fighter pet. This ended up as one of the silliest IPs developed by the same people who made Resident Evil 4. IGN gave this game a 3 out of 10, so you know it's gotta be good.
Die, monster. You don't belong in this world. Your words are as empty as your soul. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you.
What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets.
You are Alucard, son of Dracula.
Fuck you.
After the disappearance of Richter supposedly defeating Dracula, you investigate the newly erupted castle in search of clues and to hunt down your father. The castle itself is practically a maze riddled with traps, and you encounter a lot of different monsters and formidable bosses. What makes this game so special is you could do a lot of stuff that a normal Belmont couldn't do, like use magical relics. You had access to minions, you could shapeshift into a bat, a wolf, or mist to reach new areas and secrets. You even have inherited vampire powers. The game made you feel like a vampire, and at the same time, a human. You died just as easily. Oh, and you also have to deal with the reverse castle, but we won't talk about that. Unlike the usual whip boys of previous Castlevanias, Alucard gets a diverse array of weapons at his disposal. This is the first Castlevania to introduce RPG mechanics, like stats and leveling. This is also one of the first games of its kind to, add stuff like life jars to permanently boost stats. It put the Vania and Metroidvania titles. Even after beating the game, you still have a lot you could do. You could replay the game as Richter, you could be an Axe Knight, and there's even a special luck mode. I remember moments like getting Chrysogrim for the first time. I remember all the weird boss fights, and I also remember Wall Chicken? You're missing out if you haven't played this unforgettable title yet. Maybe play it while you're watching someone play Subway Surfers.
Sarcasm. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the world and loses his own soul?
Everything about Final Fantasy Tactics was just...
Beautiful.
The story went like... There's plenty of political intrigue. Basically, you have the Black Lions and the White Lions, and they both fight, and this is known as the Lion War. I'm serious. The story, although I brushed it over for the sake of the video, is actually well written. Each character has a deep backstory, and you feel for them. You see all this through the eyes of Ramza, an outcast that enlists the aid of many allies and good friends. You could even enlist people like Cloud Strife. That's pretty wild. You had a lot of job classes for characters. You could be a mime, a samurai, a dark knight, or a time mage. Most classes were whatever, but they had plenty of impact on the field. What really sells the atmosphere of war were the sounds of enemies you kill. And the music. The graphics were well made for its time, and every battlefield was beautiful to look at. The world is unpredictable, with twists and turns as you go along. It's a cold reminder that war is unforgiving, treacherous, and cruel. You know, shit happens. The game was challenging and required a lot of thought before every encounter. It's like playing chess against rival commanders. Remember the Wheatgraph fight and saving before it, getting pretty much hard-locked if you couldn't kill him? That guy was an asshole. If you haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics yet, I would suggest giving it a try. It's basically if Dark Souls was a turn-based RPG. It's not a game for the faint of heart. Every decision you make in battle matters. Losing someone feels awful, but it makes every victory all that much better until you reach the climax. It feels like you're climbing a mountain, and when you reach the peak, you're actually rewarded for once. Again, these are just 5 objective games that I personally believe would make a killing this year, or any year if they were to be released. And, you know, you could only dream. It's a shame that these games will probably never be looked at again or remade, and that's probably for the better. They should be reminders that games can be innovative, have a lot of worthwhile content that you haven't seen before, and be unforgettable. We get things like Final Fantasy VII packaged 10 times, or Skyrim on Super Nintendo now, or fucking Wii U. I say, count your blessings. Let's not talk about the Secret of Mana remake or I'll have to kill you.